Today we're going to be looking at the VisionFive 2 from StarFive. The board that I have here is a 4 GB model. There's also an 8 GB model available. And if you look on the screen here, you see we have some of the performance characteristics and specifications for the StarFive VisionFive 2. This is an interesting RISC-V Single Board Computer, and what makes it different than a lot of the other RISC-V products that were out before is that this is not a microcontroller, it's more of a single board computer in line with the Raspberry Pi. Now that's all information you can get from many other channels, so what we're going to do today is something a little bit different. We're going to look at some desktop use using Debian, and we're going to play some games. You can see right now it's currently going for $74.51 for the 4 GB model like I'm going to be demonstrating. The 8 GB model costs a little bit more, and you can also pay for a Wi-Fi module through this reseller if you want one included for just a little bit more as well. Now, my VisionFive 2 came with a neat little heatsink and case, and it gets warm to the touch but not too hot, and so I can tell that it's doing its job of dissipating the heat correctly. There are 4 screws on the outside of it that need to be removed or installed to secure it. After you remove these 4 screws, you can pop off the heatsink and you can see the single board computer there inside. It's attached to the case with 4 screws as well. You can also see there they did some very nice silk screening so that you can easily identify all the components that you need to, including some dip switches up there and the top labeled next to the GPIO that let you select what boot device you want to use. Now this single board computer allows both eMMC modules and NVMe SSD in addition to an SD card boot, but in priority it goes SD card, eMMC, NVMe. And today we're going to be booting off our NVMe drive. I have a 256 GB Lexar NVMe M.2 drive installed, and it currently has the StarFive custom version of Debian, so we'll just need to let the computer boot up now, and it'll take us directly to the Debian desktop. So what we're viewing right now is just the startup screen, followed by the real-time boot screen for Debian Linux. And again, this is in real time how long it's taking for it to boot up. I'm going to let some of the things run long and it may seem a little bit boring for it, but I want to make sure that you have the experience of exactly what it would be like using this as your desktop. So to do that, we're going to be checking out some videos later, and we're going to play some games. So as you can see, there's NeoFetch showing off of the Debian and us using the current kernel. Bring up BTOP as well to show we got all 4 of the cores there running at topping out at 1.5 gigahertz, and we're just using a bit of the 4 gigs of RAM even using this GNOME desktop. So video is one of the main tests I wanted to do because it's a lot of how people use their computers nowadays, from the one that you carry around with you in your pocket to the televisions that now have this stuff built into it. So we'll let this try to load up here. I did tell it to go to YouTube, and we'll give it that real-time wait. So we're going to go ahead and check in on BTOP to see how the little processor is doing. And it seems to be taking out one of the cores more than the rest of them. It's certainly favoring a couple of CPUs over the others. But as we can see, it is now bringing up YouTube. We'll search for something that'll make sure we don't get copyright struck. So look for some royalty-free YouTube videos. Now this playlist here looks like it should do the job, and again we're letting this go in real time, so I wouldn't use this as a daily driver right now. What I'm hoping for is by putting out some videos on RISC-V and some of the other non-x86 architecture single board computers, is that it inspires people to do some more development for them. Because what we shouldn't be doing is looking at this and seeing its shortcomings, but rather this is how far we've gotten from a lot of nothing before. So I want to thank everybody that's put in the hard work to get us this far with these new architectures. Okay, so the video is loaded in now, and you can see it's running pretty smooth as long as we keep it contained in the small picture-in-picture window, but when we try to go to full screen, it struggles a little bit. I suspect this is because it's trying to render everything in software. Despite having a decent GPU, the desktop side of things just isn't there for making full use of it. So hopefully this is something that's addressed in further releases of the Debian desktop. You'll see this come up again in the games testing as well. But when we move on to Batocera, it's making full use of the GPU, and you'll see how that comes out a little bit better. So we can see it's doing this at 480p. And now we're going to try to force it to 1080p. And this is where we're going to drop some frames. Now I want to confirm my suspicions about it not using the GPU to decode the video, so we'll see if I can remember the correct things to type into Firefox, and yeah, it's telling me that doesn't look right. So another way people use their computers is to look up some information, so we're going to go to the internet's answer boards for everything and see if it can remind me how I'm supposed to be able to check whether or not the GPU is working. Again, we're loading this all in real time. We'll let it multitask a bit. Let's go ahead and bring up Chromium for the next test, also for video. Popped up fairly quickly. Let's see if I can get a good answer. This is certainly something I could have done much quicker on my phone. Is able to parse a page with as much JavaScript and junk going on as this one. It's actually saying the processor's doing pretty good. And there's the proper code phrase that I couldn't remember, and I still flub it. Take a look at it and see what we're doing to render. So what's interesting is that this does say it's using web render for compositing at least. But when we go down, we see, okay, it's loading all the WebGL stuff. It's got Mesa loaded. It's got a driver for the video card in it. But what it doesn't have is the ability to do hardware video decode with any of the video profiles that are set for it. We could see, none of the codecs were supported for hardware decode. Chromium has the video loaded now, so let's give this a shot, see if video playback is any smoother. I'm certain it also doesn't have proper hardware decode either. Looks okay, but it is still dropping quite a few frames. Let's take it up to 1080p. And at 1080p it's dropping most of the frames again, so we'll let this chug on for a little bit longer, and then we'll go ahead and get into some other things. One of the things I did decide to check out was LibreOffice Writer, and that's because LibreOffice is one of the programs that was specially compiled for RISC-V. It comes, I remember having to run a script for the source package and having it load separately than I would through apt, though one of the cooler things that they have going on now is that you can actually update your system using apt instead of having to use a custom script and avoid typing in apt update or an apt upgrade, as they warned you not to do that in the past. So I can say this is pretty responsive. Any of the problems with typing are purely my fault. I could blame the keyboard, I guess, but I wouldn't blame it on this version of LibreOffice. So finally we'll get into something a little bit more interesting here. Let's go ahead and see if I can get Doom to run. I went ahead and installed PR Doom using the app package manager. And we'll go ahead and start it up now. Now it's not detecting the 1024 by 768 video mode I was hoping to use. Well, that's not a problem. We'll just leave it here and hopefully it corrects on the capture device, and it seems to have captured it okay. Now I'll go ahead and try to find out how I can speed up the mouse. And we'll get through there and we'll play a map. again, any of the bad playing here is purely my fault. I'm not going to blame the RISC-V board, this version of Debian, or anything of the like. We'll just go ahead and see if I can get most of the kills, at least for this map, and most of the secrets. I'm not sure if I'm going to go for all items yet. Now, one of the things I've been thinking about doing is stream some RISC-V gaming on Twitch, which should be under my Comrade Puffin handle. So if there's an interest in that, I may just start it up and see how that goes. So this regular Doom we can get to work, but how about something completely different? Let's see if we can give an old stress test a try. Let's try out Nuts.WAD. Now, if you aren't familiar with this mod, I don't think there's a way you can actually win it, so we're going to cheat just to see how long we can last and see how well this little CPU handles this many demons on one wide area here. So I'm chewing through some of them. That was a little loud. Turn it down a little bit. And as the number of demons goes down, it becomes a little bit easier to render. Until you turn around and take a look at the thousands remaining. So, I think the VisionFive 2 is going to be a pretty good board for playing Doom. As long as you stay away from the gimmicky wads like Nuts. Should be able to handle a normal slaughter map, because it's not going to have all the monsters in one place quite like this. Go for just a little bit longer. See if I can help the processor out a little by getting rid of some more of the demons. It hasn't quite calmed down a bit or caught up. even with this greatly reduced number, seems still being in the thousands is a bit much for a 1.5 gigahertz ARM core. See if we can snake these revenant projectiles around and have them hit these barrens. That's enough nuts for today. Now, one other thing to check out is we saw before is running in software mode. Problem is that it doesn't get into OpenGL mode. It'll error out here. I was able to produce an error message if I already had a map loaded, but not if I don't. So I'm going to have to Control-C it out here at the command line. Next, let's try some Quake. Gone ahead and installed the Quakespasm port. We get sound but no video for Quake. I'm thinking as soon as they get the GPU drivers working perfect with Mesa and OpenGL, and this is going to be a very good experience. Next up, we're going to look at some gameplay using Batocera. This is a custom Linux-based distribution that focuses on retro gaming. I'll just do the standard. I do not condone piracy. I will not tell you how to pirate, so please do not ask. But if there is something you would like to see played for testing on this channel, then go ahead and leave me a comment below and I'll see if I can accommodate. What I'm showing off there with the blinking light is that even though Batocera is picking up the Xbox 360 controller just fine, it is, however, showing the blinking light on the controller. I've gone ahead and rebooted Batocera so that it is being detected properly. We'll give this a minute here to boot. This may be too long to leave in future videos, but we'll just let you guys have the full boot experience here. And now we're up with this captured. I'm going to go ahead and look at the emulator configuration I have set up. There's only one PC Engine option, which is a bit strange, but for NES we're using Dystopia, Gambata for Game Boy and for Game Boy Color, SNES 9X for the Super Nintendo, MGBA for the Game Boy Advance, Genesis GX Plus or Plus GX for all the Genesis emulators, including the Game Gear, and MetaFN is the only one I can get to work for a PlayStation. PCSX, Rearm, and DuckStation both weren't working for me. So we'll take a look at a couple of emulated games here after a quick reboot. See what kind of system information Batocera can tell us about this board after we go ahead and set some maximums here for our output. Set up. And in order to stop that odd stretching, I think we're going to have to reset it again. Now that we're booted up and everything appears to be looking okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the system information. So this is the latest version of Batocera. It's just done back in August. We've got our RISC-V VisionFive 2 there, showing 4 threads, our 4 gigs of RAM. It's using OpenGL for our graphics API. So this actually performs very well for most games going through the 16-bit generation. So we're going to demonstrate that here, starting out with some 8-bit games, and then we'll play some Super Nintendo, and we'll see just how it performs with the PlayStation. I'm not the best at shoot 'em ups, but I do enjoy them. So any poor playing here is, once again, not the fault of the board. So it handles TurboGrafx 16 fairly well. Let's give it a shot here with Nestopia. Stress it a little bit here. We'll try a Super Nintendo game. Go with another shoot 'em up. Try something a little bit different here and see how the Sega CD stresses the system. I think it handles the Sega CD games just fine, as we'll see here with Silpheed.
Battle station, unidentified spacecraft inbound from Delta Line, Area 3. Number unknown, but increasing. All Silpheed squadrons scramble immediately. Repeat, scramble now. Squadron 207, scramble now. Rendezvous with squadrons 279 and 333. Take position for intercept mission. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill.
problem whatsoever doing music, voices, video in the background of the 3D objects. So be able to handle the Sega CD just fine.
Missiles coming in fast. Intercept systems to emergency code. Quick!
Defense fleet destroyed. Still 8 in action.
Game.
And today we're going to wrap things up with the test of the PlayStation here. And we're going to see what is probably the slowest superbike race you'll witness. Now this one is not my fault. And no, the audio has not been chopped and screwed in post-processing or editing. That is just as fast as it can be emulated on this little single board computer. I do enjoy this, but I do get ahead of everyone here pretty quickly, so we're just going to go ahead and let this game take us out. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything you think I should change or you want to see for the next video. Still trying to figure out this YouTube stuff, so any constructive feedback is appreciated. And I may be streaming this stuff on Twitch, so I'll talk to you all later. Enjoy this game on the way out. Bye.